Tell me, how do you become a DePIN darling?
Well, we were really lucky to, I think, start before DePIN was even a thing, before the name even existed, and we were able to tap into the Helium community's just fervent belief in DePIN. It's interesting now, I think a lot about, even within DePIN, there's like so many different facets. There's the DY folks doing wireless, there's really a small handful of emerging mobility and automotive focused projects, and I think in probably the next year or so, we'll start to see DePIN separate out into more categories, but we're really just grateful for the community that we have and for the partners that we have to build with.
Tell me a little bit about your community.
For the most part, they're all drivers. We do work with some small fleets today. It's not our core focus. The nice thing about the automotive industry is that by far the majority of new cars today are built with native connectivity. So if you have a relatively new car, you can actually usually get started with DIMO without even having to buy a device. You just tap into the existing vehicle connectivity that you have, into the APIs that the automaker has created, and connect your car to DIMO, and that allows you to own your own data.
What do you see, with all this data? What are some things that stand out?
I mean, you have to talk about AI, right? Like every business is changing, and I think everything has to be reconsidered through the lens of how is AI changing the industry. But I'm going to have all the control that I need to revoke that data and protect that data.
So is that something that DIMO will be able to provide, like the analytics and then also the AI modeling? Or
we don't focus as much as on analytics ourselves. That's something that a lot of apps built on top of DIMO do. We are working and collaborating with companies that build those kinds of solutions, as well as AI models that are meant to be trained on vehicle data. There's no more data, no more publicly available data to go train AI models on. And if you can deliver some service back to the user, back to the fleet manager, here's how you're going to make your fleet more fuel efficient, here's how you're going to optimize your routes, here's how you're going to be a better car owner. If you can do that for a consumer or fleet, then you can probably start to build a really unique model because you're going to get access to unique data.
Any other kind of surprising learning you've had, thinking through what's upcoming?
I think that one of the other surprising or one of the things that feels like it's probably going to start to come to fruition in the near future, we've talked about this concept of the smart city for so long. We're now really starting to hit the point where we have a critical mass of connected vehicles, critical mass of chargers, which can all be connected, and virtually every other company in the mobility space is integrating their sensors and their networks. I think we're finally at a point when the smart city can actually come to fruition, but we needed to have that critical mass of devices before we started to say, all right, how are we going to network all of these things? And I think that's going to be something that changes in the next few years.
So any model city that you have in mind?
We're starting to collaborate with a project in Japan that I can't talk about yet. We hope will be our first DIMO smart city deployment. But our goal is ultimately to kind of power the vehicle connectivity and the permission sharing for a lot of these projects.
And that's also a good example of these multi-stakeholder that nobody trusts each other in this system. And
trust is one of the biggest challenges that this space has. And the reality is that a lot of the hardware ends up pretty commoditized. One of the differences that we've implemented is a secure element so that you can cryptographically sign this data.
Any lasting comments, ideas, inspiration?
I think that just generally speaking, what we're doing collectively in this space is so critical as a way to extend the value of Web3 into new industries. We're able to now finally break away from just the financial pitch of what this industry can be. And as we start to see really the first breakthrough payments use case in stablecoins, you can also very easily connect that use case to verified mobility data. And if you have that verified mobility data, you can start to ascribe and attach payments to all of it, which really, really opens up the area for new types of commerce.
When is that going to happen, Alex?
I think that we're going to start to see that probably next year. I mean, hopefully DIMO does some pilots early this year, or late this year, I should say. We'll be doing maybe some very small payments pilots.
Okay.
In-car and vehicle payments has been something that the industry has tried to crack for over a decade now. And it's really just suffered from having a payment system that's global and interoperable. So now that we have that in stablecoins, we can really start to see that accelerate.
Wow, that's exciting.
It is.
Super.
Yeah.